And we are back. Welcome, guys, YouTube viewers, to the Midnight Milk Podcast. I'm here. My name is Edith. I'm here with Storm. Say hello. Yeah. And today we're going to be talking about memories. Few things come to mind.
Literally.
Yeah. I've always, whenever I talk about memories and we get into deep talks, which this is what this, by the way, welcome Couch and Yonko Monko? Yeah. I'm
I really
just
this monkey.
Monkey. Yeah, I'll call you Monkey.
Not even gonna lie. Yep, call him monkey.
When I think of memories, like, and I get in philosophical talks with people, my first thought gets to, and this is deep, is just like memory is everything. Memory defines who you are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because of a lot of the, like, there's just defining characteristics to when you are born, and then there's experience. And experience makes up like 99% of you, or like social wise at least.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, you have stuff like survival instinct, which differs, but I'm not entirely sure like what parts of the brain is what. Like, I'm more of like, when I say I'm like interested in psych, I'm more interested in like kind of like how there's like, you know, anatomy and physiology. This is not the best comparison, but like anatomy is like the structure of the body and physiology is how it all works, right? But with me, instead of it's like the structure of the brain and how it all works, I'm more interested in like the external aspects and how it like affects everything, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of like more of just the philosophical standpoint of the brain rather than the actual hardware. So, and memories has to do with like a big part of that, but I'm not entirely sure what part of the brain controls memories, but I'm pretty sure the amygdala isn't a part of it. Because the amygdala controls fear, survival instinct. That's why it's there. But
I think every part of the brain, like every sector, is what helps with memories. Because memories affect everything, from emotional standpoint, fears, to just like the way your body's hormones are affected. Certain memories and certain things that you can think back to will change, like the dopamine responses and anything like that. So it affects almost every single signal that your brain can send.
It does affect, but I'm sure there is a specific specific parts of your brain that are designed for memory, right? I'm not sure every part of it, like if this part were to get damaged, I'm not sure it'll like necessarily directly affect your memory. But yeah, when you go through a memory, when you remember something, you go through a sensation, which isn't, it could be, I mean, there could be a part of the brain which is like memories and sensations, but there also could be like your memory part of your brain triggers, which sends a signal over to your senses, right? And then or your hormones, and then that goes off, and then you go through like an experience called remembering, right? So that's how I always view memories. Is just it defines who you are, or that's just how I've been told, I guess. Any first thoughts that come to mind when you hear the word memory, Storm?
For me, it's just I think of nostalgia is my first thought of memories.
Yeah,
because I've always been a person to look back on the past, and not in like a negative light, as in like, oh my god, I hate the future now and where we're at. No, I look at it on like I just miss being able to do what I used to do. Usually because what I did in the past, I either don't want to do anymore, or I just can't do anymore.
Yeah.
So I usually think of nostalgia when it comes to memories. And I said this last time, but your memories, you never know when you're making them.
Yeah.
Like, that's the weirdest part.
Same with learning as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just,
you never know what information you're going to retain.
Now, when it comes like when I thought of nostalgia, like the first thing when you related nostalgia to memory, I was like, okay, so it's like a scale system where nostalgia is at the end of the scale, but I don't think that's necessarily true, because when you have like a trauma, that is a memory ingrained into your brain that might be the top of the scale, but that isn't nostalgia. If you walk into like a park or a house where a tragic event happened, you don't walk through that in like nostalgia land. You walk through that in fear. So there's definitely difference. So it's less of a scale. I don't really know how to define memory as that. Like I don't know how to put it as a picture necessarily, but I know it's not a scale. Definitely, unless you have a double-ended scale where you have the middle and you go right is nostalgia and left is trauma, maybe, but I just don't think that's how memories are built. It's not how I view them.
Yeah. Memories are really weird if you really take into consideration how we're able to remember things.
Yeah, I mean, like it makes sense why they're there, but it's one of those things where it makes you question on like why were we built the exact same way we were today? Like what are the odds, you know?
Exactly.
That's why religions are a thing.
Another thing to delve into that is just people say the brain is the smartest computer ever to exist, right? Because it's true.
Yeah.
When you really go to think about it, we have like terabytes on terabytes of information in our heads.
Yeah.
Compared to like what computers can have. And I think I saw something on it where it's just your neurons will fire certain patterns, and then that certain pattern relates to something you've done, like taste. Like your taste is a neural pattern. So let's say you do it in like put it into binary code, for example. Let's say you eat something spicy, it'll send signal 0010.
Yeah.
But then you taste something sweet, so that'll be 0110. Like that's what the taste and other sort of memories will relate to. But for how we get things like remembering whole events and remembering whole days, how? It is so confusing.
It's our brains are just so complicated. Now, again, going back to the one where we're talking about fears and relating it to animals, like, I mean, we don't entirely know because we're not inside the heads of animals, but like, is it the same? Like, I'd assume not, because they relatively have smaller brains. That's why we're called primates. Well, it's not, I mean, that's what primates are defined as, is just bigger brains. So, I'd assume, like, it'd be different, because, like, if they do have the same sort of structure for the memory section of the brain that we do have, then it would be smaller, and it would be capable of less, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'd assume from just, like, external research that, like, just from assumptions and hypotheses and whatnot, I feel like you can assume dogs definitely do have memories, stuff like that. Now, do all animals? Maybe, because I'm sure there's some organisms out there who don't have memories. I mean, there's unicellular organisms, right, that don't have memories because they don't need to. They survived to live and tell offspring effectively enough without memory, so why would they need it, right? That's just not how they evolved.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming it's definitely different. I don't know. What do you think it's like inside of a dog's head with memory?
I bet you it's the exact same, but just not nearly as much. For example, like dogs know when you say, "Oh, do you need to go outside?" Like they'll retain that to their head, and then if you say those words, then they'll be like, "Oh, now I get to go use the bathroom," or "This is where I'm supposed to designate my like restroom as." So they clearly have a resemblance of a memory, and they know their names, they know other people's names. So they remember certain aspects, including your home too. Like they'll remember, like if they ever leave the house, they'll usually know how to get back. So I definitely know that dogs have a resemblance of human memory.
Yeah.
I just don't know to the extent of how long it lasts.
I will make an assumption that oh yeah, Big Man Bear, that's my uncle.
Oh, howdy.
Yeah, it's my aunt and uncle. They're called the Bears in the family. It's great. But
Nice to meet you.
pertaining to memory with like animals and stuff like that, I'd assume it's more on the sensation side rather than like logs, right? Because I mean, if you think about it, like animals don't necessarily have like a language. Actually, speaking of that, like animals might have like their own like language, but not understood, right? They have their own form of communication, which you could define as a language. But like, do they think of that language in their head, like when thinking? I don't think they have an internal monologue per se. But I feel like the way their brains work, and especially since they have smaller brains, I'd assume that memory is more sensation related rather than like they like actively think about it like inside an internal monologue. Because if you say something like, do you have to go to the bathroom? That those words are gonna like send a sensation, which makes them, I guess, think like it's now ready to use the restroom.
Yeah. I think dogs are less of inner monologue and more feeling.
Yeah, sensations.
Yeah. So just like I need to use the restroom, but less of thinking that and more of just feeling it. Like, oh, I have to go.
Yeah.
Or I need to eat.
I might have to.
Oh, damn, sorry, couch.
Yeah. Well, episodes will be on Twitch, so or sorry,
Yeah.
YouTube. Well, they'll still be left over from Twitch because some people are interested in coming back and watching the full live session, which isn't a problem. But they're just a little bit more cleaned up on YouTube. Now,
Yeah, this whole podcast will be up for 2 weeks after today. What? Twitch, the Twitch clips, which is like just a whole Twitch stream, will last for 2 weeks.
Oh yeah.
On Twitch at least.
Now it's crazy. I've seen a lot of dogs, like on what is it called? Stuff where they study stuff on like on Disney Plus. What is it called? Documentary channels. Documentary channels. Like stuff like that where they study like the inner machinations of dogs, and I've seen this on YouTube actually. Where this dog would always wait like an hour before or like 30 minutes before their owner got home from work. Like it's like they knew as soon as they got in their car. And they actually did an experiment where the owner purposely stayed at work for longer to see if the dog were to go out the door at the same time. Because maybe they had an internal clock and they just knew if I were to stay at the door at this time, then my owner would come through eventually, right? But no, the dog only got there when the owner started to drive home. So, I mean, like, how do you think that's related to memory?
I think it sounds.
I mean, like,
because like I know that's what my dogs. Maybe not like that, but like I know my dogs, they did that. Like the greatest example is we went from a Volkswagen Passat SE to a Tesla Model 3. And so the dogs learned the sound of the car from our Passat. And so they would hear it and then know, oh, we're going to be home soon. And they would hear that from down the street.
Yeah.
Like they would hear that from a really far distance away.
No, I don't know.
But then
if
as soon as we got
minutes, but yeah.
As soon as we got our Tesla, it instantly threw them off. Because we would drive home, we would get into the driveway, and the dogs wouldn't be barking. We would shut the door, they wouldn't be barking. The only time they would is when we get up to the door. And then Miko, our second dog, they started to recognize the hum that the Tesla has, because apparently Tesla has to have a certain sound and make a certain decibel range for safety purposes, but you can barely hear it. Either way, my dog, or our second dog, learned what that noise was, and so we'll use that whenever they hear it. And so now all the other dogs recognize it as well.
It's crazy.
But going back to that clock thing, apparently bees have that exact same internal clock.
What do you mean?
They have a sense of perception of time.
Yeah, I'd assume all animals do. It's just helpful for survival. I mean, humans obviously do. Yeah, I mean, you can read this out, Storm.
We've actually been able to map out the majority of dolphins' communication language, and it's surprisingly extensive. And why am I struggling?
Extensive and complicated. Was it
Yeah,
genetic
thank you.
or was it learned or both? With that, so I mean, dolphins are
Both.
already complicated as yeah. Dolphins are already complicated as it is because, like, I mean, there's a whole bunch of research on dolphins just because they're that interesting. It makes me think, like, why dolphins? You know, I guess they've just like, I mean, again, why humans, right? That's just how they evolved that way. Um, but with dolphins, yeah. So with that, I'd assume it could definitely be both because in order to be able to learn that sense of communication, you need to have the genetics, the brain for that, right? If you have a dolphin born with like a smaller brain or that part of the brain not functioning, then they're not going to be able to learn that sort of communication. And I feel like that's, I mean, with humans too, they learn languages, like depending on how they grow up, they learn that certain language. So I'm assuming it'd be this around the same for dolphins.
Mhm.
Even though we did go off of different paths, there's this word that like where like certain aspects of evolution collide just because it works out better, like with dragonflies and birds, how they both have wings, right?
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I'd say it's definitely both. Um, yeah.
Brains are just extremely, and memories in general are very confusing.
Oh yeah. Just you can, I mean, you can study the brain all you want on like just internally looking at all of the things light up, but still like, oh, we have not figured it out yet. We're
Mm-mm.
getting like, I mean, we getting there. Not necessarily saying we're close, but we're getting there. Only so much one human can comprehend about their own damn brain, right?
Mhm.
Now remember in class, like, have you ever had the teacher that said, like a biology teacher or something, that said, it's so interesting how humans are the only one that named its own brain?
Yes. Yes.
Now, like, do you think there's a single other animal that actually think about its own body parts?
Probably dolphins. That and monkeys
I mean, monkeys,
or
yeah.
primates,
Wait,
yeah.
I mean, they're also we're primates, right?
I think
we are.
so.
Yeah, because I had to do this in anatomy class or no, in English class where we're doing like the root word of prime, and one of the like example words were primates, and I just did a little bit of research about primates, and it was just saying primates is related to like bigger brain, because the root word of prime means first, so I'm assuming it means something along the lines of first animals to like maybe have bigger brains, communication skills. We're the first, like primates are the first animals to do a lot of things, but I'd say we're under primates. I'm not entirely sure though.
Hmm.
What was I talking
Do
about?
you think monkeys will ever get to like human status?
That
or
is-
like or like our mind standpoints? Because over time your DNA or your RNA will slowly develop change for its benefit. And so will that happen for monkeys too?
So, for one, evolution happens over, I mean, thousands of years, right? So, we're not going to be in the lifetime to see that.
No. No.
Unless you do like some sort of selective breeding, then maybe. But that is a low chance, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of hurt monkeys. But
To get Planet of the Apes to happen.
but for communication to work like that, again, the way I've always viewed evolution is that whatever gets you to be able to survive better until offspring, right?
Mhm.
And be able to now make sure your offspring survives and has a like better life, because it just depends on the animal, I guess. And with human, that came communication, right? Communication helps us survive until offspring more, right? Now, monkeys, they don't have, I don't think they have the voice box to be able to talk. I'm not sure.
No, they do, because they can make audible sounds. That's all a voice box is.
No, but I remember hearing something about like dogs and stuff, like they can't talk because they don't have a certain part of the body that allows you to speak?
Because all talking
It
is
might be tongue. I'm not sure.
because your voice box or your larynx really isn't what allows you to talk. It allows you to vibrate
Yeah.
your vocal cords, and then what you do is you use your lips and your tongue.
Yeah, they might not have like the mouth formations or something, right?
Mhm. They don't. But have you know how like you can hear cats say like no or hello?
Yeah.
Like that's the start of becoming or having quote unquote audible language.
Except they just don't have the brains for it. They can understand, but they don't like
Mhm.
speak.
It's just like how you've heard some. Oh, a great thing to talk about for this is people on TikTok have made contraptions for their dogs to press buttons, and they'll say things like outside or food.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And they will start using repetition to press certain ones at certain times.
Yeah. I've
So
yeah.
that I think that one though is just more sensory in the regard of like oh, this gets me this.
Yes, it's just point like straight point A to B. So with the whole monkeys and communication thing, that is to assume that they don't have their own communication already. Because
They
I'm
do.
pretty sure, I'm pretty sure they do. So it's just
Communication doesn't have to be through words.
yeah, it's just not to the extent that we have it. To form ideas and opinions, and I'm sure there's some sort of extent where monkeys have that, but I don't think it's as complicated.
Did you know crows mourn the death of their fellow crows?
I've heard about that.
Like what they'll do is if they see a crow dead, they'll hurtle around it and be quiet. And then they'll start making noise as to basically mourn and give basically a funeral. They did a test with that. And apparently they also have repetition for an internal clock. And also with pattern recognition for random people.
Now,
Like,
yeah, well, yeah, for getting food, I'd assume.
mm-hmm.
But is that so you know how you grow up and you have traditions and you learn those traditions? Is that learned through like tradition or is that through genetics? Because
Probably through tradition.
yeah, if you grab a crow from a completely different country, do they do the same actions?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I
That's
I assume not.
We were learning about this in biology the other day, or quite a while back. But I can't remember what it was called. But there's temporal evolution. There's temporal, then there's separational, and then divergent evolution.
Why aren't we doing this on the podcast of evolution?
We can talk about that on the podcast of evolution.
Let's go back to memories real quick because I don't want to spoil too much of my brain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But with memories, like they're tied to everything.
Yeah.
That's what's so incredibly interesting. Going back real fast to the fear of people and all that podcast, we talked about how words can instantly give you fear and anxiety or make you feel a certain way rather than what you were feeling earlier. Memories can do the exact same thing, but to a probably even higher extent.
Yeah. I mean, trauma, right?
Mhm.
Now, and thinking about that, you can have someone say something, that memory stick in your mind, and you can have that same exact feeling from just remembering it.
And you could just do that randomly.
Yeah.
Instead of someone telling you that then makes you remember, it could just be an instant like, now you're thinking about this.
Well, I do think when you do think about something, I do think when you think about something, it has something that is small and not noticeable that may trigger and make you remember the experience, but like it's triggered subconsciously and all of a sudden you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
Maybe a certain smell that you had, or who knows? Maybe you saw a random blue object and your brain saw that small little blue object in the room and kind of like morphed it to the object that you saw when someone said that in your ear, and then it triggered a subconscious. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, there's so much that one thing can do to your brain.
Yeah. Jesus. So that's what I need right about now.
One thing that I find very interesting, which we might talk a little more on the next topic, so it might pertain a little more, but dreams.
Right. Forgot about that one.
Which one does that fall under?
For memories? What do you mean?
Does that fall under memories, or does that fall under fading memories, or forgetting, or forgetfulness? Because you usually forget all of your dreams. You don't usually remember them.
Yeah,
but there
why
are a
is
couple that you continue. I have no idea.
I'm not about to look that up. I'm be honest. Yeah, I mean, do you want me to?
I can do it.
Yeah, you can do it.
Let's see. Pull up Google. Why do we not dream? I'm not gonna. Oh wow! Would you look at that?
Yep.
It's the first result in Google.
I mean, you could just
A
say
person
why
may
do
not
forget
remember.
dreams.
A person may not remember the events of their dreams because they cannot access that information once they are awake. In a 2016 article, in the journal Behavioral and Brain Sciences, researchers, wait, really? People forget their dreams due to changing levels. Oh.
Sounds too complicated for me.
Okay, so from what I'm getting of it, it's just that because we are sleeping, our hormones and the chemicals in our brains aren't one to a T than when we are awake. And so because they're not the exact same, our memory perception might not be the same. And so it just slowly fades away.
That's a like a guess, a prediction? Is it?
I don't know. It was a study.
It was a study, so I'm assuming it's an inference. I mean, what else can you do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think we're ever gonna get to an, like, you know how everyone's like, oh, I wish I could turn this stream into a video, or like, oh, I wish I could just watch this stream again? Do you think we're ever gonna get to that point?
How?
I don't know.
I mean, that's why we're not there, because we don't know how. But like,
what's the storage, or what's the size of a memory?
Size of a memory? I don't know. Look it up. Like, I'm sure the internet has it. What
is the size of a memory?
Now, why you don't have to look this one up, but like, I'm just like, why do we remember some dreams? Are those dreams like dreams you made right before you woke up, or I did some research on lucid dreaming, where a lot of lucid dreams happen when you wake up and fall asleep within the hour. Which, I mean, just means you're still tired, but like you're also like your mind is also a little bit awake, so you're able to lucid dream, I guess. And I'm assuming those dreams, like your hormones were not able to settle down enough to have that hormonal imbalance, so therefore you're able to remember that dream a little better. That's just a theory. Milk theory.
I'm not getting anything. What is the memory capacity? Oh my god, that's very bright. As a number, a petabyte means 1,200 terabytes or 1,000,000 gigabytes. So on average, okay, so the average adult human brain has the ability to store the equivalent of 2.5 million gigabytes digital memory.
That is a lot, actually.
That is quite a bit.
Because, I mean, when you think about it, like, how many gigabytes is FNAF Security Breach?
80.
Now, that means for 80 gigabytes, you're able to remember every single little detail of that object in that facility. Because that's what it has to process, is those 80 gigabytes.
God. But, like, what does that mean for memories? Like, what are memories? What's that size? How many gigabytes is the sandwich I ate?
Is that like a heading to article?
What's the size of the BLT you ate for lunch today?
I mean, yeah, no, I could see that being like a title for like some study on like how much food contributes that like to your brain, right? Like
Hmm.
what part of that brain is picked apart, or sorry, what part of that food is picked apart and transferred to directly to building your brain. Um,
I guess another thing you got to take into consideration: how many memories are combined into one. Because if you think of a
yeah,
memory, you'll usually think of different memories that are tied to it.
that is true. I mean, they could be completely like unrelated, and it's still like
You could
cross-faded into it.
you could think of a memory from 5 years back that ties to a memory today.
I mean, like, why is that? Well, with the
It-
memory today, that's a little bit different. But like, say something that happened 5 years ago and 10 years ago, like, that's different. But like, for them to cross-fade, like, they would just have to be similar experiences, and just maybe not physically stored in the same part of the brain, but just like stored around the same area in like your memory complex.
yeah.
Um,
So what is? A lot of people say, "Oh, why do we not remember things from when we were a baby?" But I feel like that one's pretty self-explanatory.
yeah,
In the
your
regard
brains aren't
that
developed enough.
yeah. But I find it very interesting when your brain does figure that out. I find that way more interesting.
I have a random ass memory from when I was like a little kid. I was living in Colorado, and I was still living with my grandma, and I I don't know how old I was, honestly, just because that's not like age isn't really logged in and tied with my memories. But I remember I was pretty young, and I probably was around 3, honestly. And to be able to remember that far, but I remember here's a couple random memories. One that like dates just really far back. I'm assuming we just moved in there, and I locked myself into a room, and I just didn't know how to. Like, I was inside the room, the lock was on my side, and I locked myself in the room, not knowing how to get out. Or I probably couldn't reach the lock like a second time. But I remember like trying to check the closet to see if that was an exit. But I was a kid. I was stupid. Like, I didn't understand how locks work or like how exits work. Like, I was
Yeah.
that young. Why do I remember that? Here's another
Probably,
one.
probably can because it was a traumatic event.
Yeah, I've been told that one. Here's another one. I remember, we were gonna hike up to the top. Like, I remember my grandpa talking about all the time hiking up to the mountains or to the top of Mount Evergreen. And every time he's like, "Do you remember that?" I'm like, "Yeah." And actually, I talked to my parents. Turns out I don't remember that. I remember a dream of that, because I remember like climbing like a vertical cliff with the like no equipment, and the Jeep is below us. That's not what happened. We just peacefully walked up the mountain, apparently, right? But I don't remember that. I remember the dream
Whoa.
about that event. Like, why? I don't remember when I had that dream, and that dream was so, I guess, scary to me that I remembered that over the actual experience. Probably because I didn't care. Like, I was a kid. Like, we're climbing a mountain and we're eating. Like, I was probably more excited about the food than anything, honestly.
I mean, one thing I do not remember is my parents getting married. My parents got married when I was 3 years old. I slept through the wedding, so go figure I don't remember it.
yeah. Oh, dude.
But I remember one specific thing from that wedding. I remember sitting down on the steps that lead to the back rooms of the church. That's all I remember, though. It's the only part I remember. And then I think it was like one of the crushes that I used to have on one of the people there
Yeah.
that just would sit next to me and talk to me. But I was like 3 years old.
Yeah, I had a crush in preschool and pissed myself in front of them. I remember that.
I remember you telling me about that story. You want to
Yeah.
tell that on the podcast?
I don't. Quite frankly. What's another one? I remember. Okay, well, I remember 2 memories because I was very upset, and I was probably maybe 4, 5. Yeah, I had to be around then. I had to be around 4 or 5 because I only moved to Indiana when I was 7 because I was in 2nd grade. 7, I was probably nearing 8 because my sister was probably around 11.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I base my memory off of, because moving to a new state, that's going to be a big mark, right? And I was halfway through second grade, I think. So I was probably around 7, 8. That's just why I remember that. But I date all of my memories off of that. And I remember my sister did cheer or acrobats, one of them. I think it was called cheer, and men were allowed to join, like, not men, like 5-year-old men. But so I wanted to join because I was like, my sister's doing it, she's cool, I want to join. And I go ahead and I was trying to do pull-ups or something, I don't remember, and I got in the bar and I cried. not because it was pull-ups, because I wanted my dad. I just missed him too much. Like I could see him through the glass. I just missed him too much because I don't know. I was like 4 or 5, right? So I cried. The instructor, I'm assuming, was very awkward, and they just brought me to my dad, and he comforted me, and I went home, and I remember again, like, I wanted to do it, like, again, like, so I went, and I remember we were in a 2-story house, unless this is a false memory. Maybe, but I was on a 2-story house, and I was looking down from the railing to my parents, and we were talking about like I was like, I wanted to go back to cheer, and they're like, no, you're not, respectively, because I just cried. That's it.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, I'm a big boy. Like, isn't it weird that, like, throughout all of your memory, you're, like, very mad that everyone views you as a kid, but then you realize that memory is when you were 5 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're like, you want to be grown up, right? But I'm just like, I was like, oh, it's 5 years old. So,
my parents have always told me, and I still live by this, even to this day. Like, they say, stay a kid as long as you can be a kid.
Definitely. I live by that
like,
rule.
I'm going to make sure my kids live by that rule. Like, have dreams and aspirations, of course. Like, don't, stop having dreams of what you want to do when you grow up, but don't rush it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and this goes out to anybody that is either in the same predicament where you are, 15, probably 16 or below, I would say. You know what I mean? Like, you're still in high school. 17 and 18 is when you really genuinely have to start thinking about colleges or trade school or just a job.
I define that as a teenager. I define 14 and below as a kid.
Yeah.
15 is, I'd say teenager. 14 and below as a kid.
15, we're going to go 15 and below because you don't have a car or a permit yet.
That's true.
Unless, depending on your state, because here in Kentucky, though, it's 16. You have to be 16 to get your permit. Either way, if you are 15 or below, I really want to say that just do silly stuff, make mistakes, have fun. Yeah, with moderation, of course. Don't go out, killing people, unless that's your dream and aspiration. I guess I have no idea. Yeah. Either way, it's like, don't wish today away. Like, yeah, you might have things coming up in the future that you really want to happen, and I'm sort of hypocritical for saying this because, I have my times and days where I'm just like, I just want this day to be over. But don't wish your whole years away to become 16 or any older than that. Because before you know it, you're not going to be able to sit at home and play video games until 2 a.m. and then go to school at 6. Like, you're not going to have that forever. So take the time that you have now to just sit down, relax, and listen to music and play Minecraft all day. Take that. Like, understand that that's not going to last forever. So take every moment that you have with it and keep it with you.
Yeah.
Because before you know it, you're not going to be able to do that.
I'm going to add on to this, but a little bit less inspirational. I was a little bit egotistical, and I still am as a kid. And I've always been told, like, shut up, kid. Like, not in, like, real life, not by my parents, but just, like, maybe, like, 6th grade looking at 8th graders and a freshman looking at seniors, right? shut up kid is like usually a good a good response I'd give you. But like online as well, just talking to people. But use when if you have an ego and you think like, I don't know what these adults are talking about, they're dumb, and they, you know, I want to have the privilege that they do, I want to have the freedom that they do.
You have more freedom than they do.
Well, that's one, and I'd like to talk about that, but two, so with being a kid, when you...
And this is, real quick, before we continue, this is coming from kids.
Yeah, this is coming from kids as well, yeah.
So, for what we could be saying could be a complete and utter lie. I mean, but I feel that a lot of people would agree that, you know, what we say is... this is what we're saying right here and right now is coming from our parents. This is coming from adults that we've been around, or at least for me.
Yeah.
So, they know what they're talking about.
I would say, when like, let's say you drop something and you make a mistake, right? If you're at work and you spill coffee on your boss, that's not going to go over well. But if you're a kid and you spill coffee on your teacher, I mean, you might get detention, but you're not going to get fired, right?
Yeah.
You're going to make mistakes, and you're allowed to make more mistakes as a kid. And if you think, oh, I'm so perfect, then honestly, just
that's the biggest mistake you've just made.
Yeah, well, yeah, but whenever you fuck up, just go, I'm a kid. Honestly, like, you drop something that might be expensive, or you just drop something of value, and your parents look at you, just look at them back and go, oh, I'm a kid. No, don't like abuse that.
Don't abuse that. Because then they're gonna talk to you about being a smart aleck. But
yeah, don't dread like all of your mistakes for being a kid. Like, say you're in middle school and you like maybe fucked up a relationship, right? Don't dread on it too much. You're still a kid, right? And there's gonna be oppositions to that for anyone who is a kid and listening, obviously. Just but another thing with that is with the whole freedom perspective, I feel like it's a little bit like evenly balanced. I feel as if it's just different. You do have more freedom, as in you can drive when you're an adult, and you have more experience, so you can learn more, set up more things. But with freedom with kids, it's, I guess, just getting away with stuff, right? You know, because you might not be able to get away with playing video games at 2 a.m. when you're an adult, but that's just what you can get away with as a kid.
You just have less responsibilities when you're a kid.
That's your freedom, is the less responsibility. You may not have freedom in the consideration of driving and business, but you have the freedom of no responsibility, and that's a big one, because responsibilities suck. And I haven't even been there yet.
Oh yeah. Like, I've had my fair share of responsibilities because I've, you know, at least, I say I had a job, but I worked with my grandma, and what I did is I would mow and help with weddings. It's a really big thing you really got to pay attention for. But I mean, it's nothing like a 9 to 5. You know what I mean? Like that's nothing like a full-time job. Mine was a summer job that I just do until I think like just close to like 2 weeks before July, or the end of July. And I only worked 2 days a week. But it still gave me it still gave me perception on what a job was like, and what it's like to have the responsibility of being on time, finishing your work on time. If you don't, then you're not going to get your expected salary that you would be getting beforehand. But that doesn't mean that I want to have a job. You might want to, but don't wish to have everything go away so that way you can get to there faster.
It'll get there eventually.
You will get there eventually. And so take that and use that as a way to pass the time by doing something that you enjoy.
Yeah. Make sure you have good memories as a kid. Like, don't waste your whole entire time setting up your future. You have so much time to spend. Your 18, 20 years you have from age 0. You have that much time and freedom from responsibility to do whatever the fuck you want. Make those memories good, man. There's no reason not to. Eat ice cream on the weekends. Maybe even in opposition of your parents, and don't say I told you, but like, hey, like
say I'm sorry occasionally, or
oh yeah.
The biggest thing I could say to do right now is say I love you to your parents, friends, and family.
Definitely.
Say that now. Like, go love your dog. Like, go give them some pets or something. Like, go make memories that you will be able to look back onto later in life when you are not able to do these things anymore.
There's a lot of people out there who have dogs that like in my situation, we have 4 dogs. And it's just a lot to handle. We are all doing our own stuff. I'm sitting in my office rotting away. My dad's working. My mom's handling herself, and then my sister's, school, friends, whatnot. And we, quite honestly, don't frankly have the time to manage all 4 dogs. But I guess we're just stuck with it anyway. We're too far deep. But like, if you have like just a couple dogs and like, or 1 dog, go ahead and play fetch, man. Like,
yeah.
With your cat, like if they move, like mess around with like a laser pointer, go pet them, like make good memories.
But at the same time, don't do things so that for the key purpose of, I want to be able to remember that.
Yeah.
Go have fun. That's it. Just go have fun.
Yeah.
Because just having fun will lead to those memories.
Definitely. And you remember the weirdest shit anyway, so
go play Minecraft with your best friend from school for hours and hours on end. That's what I did.
Yeah.
I don't do that much anymore. I wish I did.
Yeah, I just don't have the creativity
Honestly.
anymore. I just get there. Like, I started a world with Jason, and I just, like, every time I do it, I'm like, oh, I remember having all of these fun memories and spending constant hours on it. And I keep trying to get back to Minecraft every new update to try to have that same thrill. But just, I get there, I get iron armor, create a farm, and I get bored. And I'm just done. I don't know. I just don't have that same thrill anymore. It's just gone. Yeah. I only have the fading memory.
If I were gonna suggest anything, do what you want to do right now. What is on? If that means leaving this podcast right here, right now, I would prefer you stay and listen. But if you have the want to go play Minecraft Bed Wars, or go play Roblox, or go outside. Go outside and ask your friend, hey, you want to ride bikes? Or hey, you want to go get our skateboards and, go skate around? Do that. Do that now.
I'd like to point out something kind of funny. There's, it's either a bot or an actual person who named their Twitch Marker Plier.
I saw that earlier. I read that wrong and I was like, wait, hold on.
Yeah, no, I had the thought. I'm like, there's no way, so I just read it a little harder. But
yeah, I clicked on it and then I saw it.
That is hilarious.
But I love that. But yeah, I don't know. Like the whole point of memories isn't to try to consciously make them. Memories are made when you aren't trying to make them.
Yeah.
Because when you make your own memories because you are wanting to, you're not going to look back on them so fondly. You'll look back on them fondly. And like pictures. Pictures are probably the best example of forced memories. Because that, like, a picture everyone says pictures can say 1,000 words, because it's very true. One picture could literally tell you someone's entire life. But that's the point. You take pictures so that way you have something you can look back on. But memories are usually made accidentally.
Honestly, like, I feel like the most, like, nostalgic pictures are, like, you can obviously say, like, prepped up pictures for, like, maybe you and your family where a family member died. Obviously, those are going to be nostalgic pictures because they're going to remember all the memories you had with them. But just, like, memories with your friends that you still have, you still talk to, those most nostalgic memories, I feel, are the ones that aren't much thought of. Like, the aren't much thought of pictures, the accidental pictures you might have took maybe in someone's car, right? all of a sudden it's just a wave of just wow. I remember that. I remember that age. We used to just goof
Yeah.
around.
Like I've said this before, but one of the best things that I remember to this day is before I rearranged my room, before I got my new bed, I had bunk beds that I had just taken apart and put them across from each other. And I was sitting on my old laptop just playing Minecraft Realms with my best friend and starting a brand new world. We had a pirate ship as our first base. And next thing you know, it got struck by lightning and burnt down. But me and my friend decided not to tear the boat down. We left it. We just left it as like the bits and pieces that were still left after we put out the fires.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening is we were like, oh, well, we gotta move. So we just moved underground. Actually, I had a pet slime. His name was Squishy. he was a tiny baby slime. He's still there to this day, actually. And yeah, that was probably one of my fondest memories. We built little secret areas behind a painting that had all of our we had all of our storage stuff back there. We had like all of our chests full of just random stuff that we assorted. And then across from the chest rooms, there were our little rooms that held like our armors or our personal belongings. My room specifically had a little window that looked out towards our skeleton farm. That was super neat. But it's just like being able to remember those things, and then the tiny things like the little arguments you used to have.
Or
Like the little, little pranks you would pull. The small things like that, you will not know you are missing until they are just gone. That you are, in the sense that you just can't do it anymore.
I have a Minecraft world with my he's back for a limited time. Well, I hope you enjoy your stay. I have a memory that I keep on thinking of when I think of Minecraft. Is I had a world. Me and my sister built an amusement park. And we both have our own style. We'd have arguments on where to place what. Like, I'd have a TNT launcher that'd be next to like their food stations. They'd be more interested in buildings, and I'd be more interested in like mechanics of Minecraft. Maybe not like some redstone, but I don't know, like spleef tournaments and
oh my god, spleef tournaments.
Yeah, just me and my sister. She wouldn't be interested in it. I built it anyway. I didn't care. Parkour, like I had a parkour section and stuff like that, and like slides, and it was built a roller coaster. I just went back on that world one day. I'm like, oh, I remember it all. And this was on like Xbox 360. It was on Xbox One, but it was 360 Minecraft. Which is just the most nostalgic Minecraft, honestly.
Exactly. Do you ever remember going back to the tutorial world?
Oh yeah, it's changed so much.
I haven't been on it since the tutorial world was a thing.
2 years ago was the last time I've gone on it, but still, because they keep adding on the new features. But I remember living in the tutorial world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't like. We could talk about the psychology all we want, but honestly, like, just talking about memories here is still fun. Just sharing like fun parts of our life we had.
Yeah.
What more there is to it?
Like, honestly, something that I know I'm gonna look back on fondly, and I mean, I guess it kind of defeats the whole purpose of what's the word? A unconscious memory, I guess.
Are you gonna say this podcast?
No, not even
I was about to
maybe
say.
the podcast. Maybe the podcast. I have no idea. But what I know for certain is VR.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never going to not have a VR headset.
Continue. I dropped something.
I heard it fall.
Yeah.
But like, I already know that VR is going to be one of those things that I always remember. But always remember fondly.
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be its ups and downs, but I bet you I'm going to miss that too.
Oh yeah. Just struggling for hours to set up my fucking equipment. I'm gonna miss that.
I'm gonna miss my 2 weeks of not being able to use VR because my Rift broke.
Oh yeah.
God.
gosh, VR chat is just a place of memories. You go through VR chat, you're not gonna forget it for some odd reason. It's just that kind of place.
Oh my god, one of the memories I know I'm never gonna forget, mainly because I still remember it to this day. And this was a while back. I met this guy, and I'm not gonna say his name, but his nickname is Windex. Whoever here it knows, which I bet you there's one person here who knows who Windex is. But I remember basically almost like bullying this kid because he was laughing so hard. He was laughing so hard, and he sounded exactly like a Windex bottle. Like the
That's hilarious.
That's the whole time. And so we would just make jokes about him the whole time, and it would just make him laugh even harder and harder. Yeah. I actually didn't know what his actual voice sounded like because he was laughing and talking at the same time until like 2 weeks after, where his voice sounded completely different. I'm like, whoa, I didn't think he sounded like that.
It's so terrifying.
And so to this day, I'll still be like, oh my god, I get to go see Windex. Let's go.
Hell yeah. That reminds me of this guy on Omegle.
Oh my god. Of course.
So one of my friends, he goes through not that it matters, but he's black. He goes through certain like I can't say much here, but he goes through certain communities on Omegle and just starts bullying them. And we all get in VC and we just start like bawling our eyes out watching him just like fuck around, right? He just goes like it's hilarious, right? But like there's just this one kid that would like I guess it's this YouTuber or something, but it's this guy acting as a like just a kid, which is kind of creepy honestly. But he was like sleeping on camera, and he just like he just looked at the camera and he just said the N-word. and the guy's name is Jigga, you know him, Storm. And Jigga just looks at him and he's like, oh my god, he looks like Balji.
Oh my god.
Fucking Phineas and Ferb. So anytime I see some like kid complaining or kid saying the N-word, I go, oh my god, it's Balji.
Oh my god. It's those memories right there.
Yeah.
The ones where you're just giggling for hours on end. Oh man. And this is the fun part about memories that everyone enjoys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, do you think we're ever gonna get to a point like you're talking about like transferring digital to, or it's transferring your memories to digital? Do you think we're ever gonna get to a point where you can straight up like just transfer memories? Like maybe like transferring the like being able to study like the sensation that you get from thinking a memory so much that you could just transfer the sensation to someone else.
Probably.
And will that set the memory off? Will they have that memory or just the sensation? Like, I don't know.
Although
would that be illegal?
Not if it's given.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's consensual, then probably not.
There's some things that are just against the law and you can't consent to it no matter what.
Yeah.
No.
I wonder that like that's also like a mortality sense. Like, is it morally immortality right? Like, is that okay? And how would you even do that?
How would you know if it's okay?
No, like in the regards of like, how do you transfer someone's vision from their own eyes into someone else's? That's now looking from their.
I would say digitally. Well, we can already do that digitally, but not like physically.
Ooh, I feel like the way we're gonna be able to do that is Elon Musk's Neuralink.
What is that?
It's a technology that he's trying to invent right now. It's supposed to be for paraplegic or anyone with disabilities in the regards of mobility, but he's trying to invent this thing where it can view your neurons and your patterns that your brain proceeds and activates, and monitors it, and could also help with sending certain signals that you need for mobility, like tense this muscle at this time when thinking about this.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. He's
That-
already got it FDA approved for pigs. I do not know
Understandably.
about people though. And it's working.
Yeah.
And it's working. That's the thing.
That's terrifying.
It is.
Like, imagine having just paralyzed legs and being able to move them again just via thinking about it. Well, that,
I mean, that's how
will you
we
be able
move.
will you be able to feel it? Like,
Probably. It's just neurons. It's just signals.
but you don't. You might not have. Like you won't. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't have functioning nerve cells there. But can you make physical replacements for like maybe only certain areas you're able to feel by just like hardware just strapped to your body?
I have no idea.
I mean, we already
That would-
have like.
But that would allow for extra appendages too.
It would.
Like, you know Dr. Octavius from Spider-Man?
Yeah.
That would be like that.
Huh. It's crazy.
See, that's where I'm excited. I mean, I'm terrified.
I don't know if we're gonna get there in our lifetime. We might get into the development of it, but I don't think we're gonna be able to see it. Honestly.
You know what I feel like we will be able to see though?
Hmm.
Full dive VR.
Yeah. That'll be crazy. I mean, we're
VR
just
technology
a step away.
will be. We are at the beginning. Or not at the beginning, but we are definitely in the midst of the beginning of full mainstream VR. I feel like that in our lifetime we will be able to see full dive VR systems where we feel like we are there.
Yeah, I mean, we have haptic suits, haptic smells, which actually was like banned because it was like illegal because it was like
Mhm.
used like as a vapor substance. It wasn't illegal, but it was like under some law, some company or whatever was like, hey, no. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Whether that'll be consumer wise or not, I don't know. Maybe.
You know what's really interesting for me?
Hmm.
Is memories in the regards of people's perceptions on memories. So like you and your friend could go through the exact same experience. You guys could take different memories away from that experience. And that's all perception based.
Yeah. You can remember totally different things about the event. It's like a totally different, like, just entire experience.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the reasons why I'm excited to have a kid. Because I've always wanted kids. I want two.
was like-
Preferably a boy and a girl, but you know,
Yeah.
I don't really mind. But like, I'm excited for just life to exist. That I can help with, you know, perceiving and letting them grow.
Ugh.
You know? It's just, and it's an extension of you.
Yeah.
But they're going to be better than you.
Well,
As long as you give them the right, you know,
yeah,
perception.
hopefully.
They'll be different. They'll be
Oh.
you, but completely different.
The thing is, with you might like have all of these perceptions and stuff and memories that you might want to share with your kid, but I honestly think it might just come across the line of like when they are a kid, they're just gonna be like, oh, the old man is sharing his memories again, or oh, he's just giving lame advice that doesn't matter, and then they're gonna go later on to their life and maybe look at back and they're like, oh, yeah, my father was pretty wise, you know.
Either that or they're gonna go like, oh my god, it's so neat. You know what? Quite honestly, I
never
would
seen
prefer the first option.
Yeah.
You know why? You know
Yeah.
why? I feel like that has so much more sentiment to it.
And the second option where they just immediately retain it, that's like creating a clone, you know? That's less of
No.
advice and more of like, I don't know. It's that I feel like it's too similar.
What I feel like that one is the second option is if you notice that they're doing that, change your words. Don't say exactly what you were thinking at that time,
Yeah.
because if you do, then you're just you're not going to be creating an exact clone, but you're going to give them the exact same ideologies that you had that you might not want them to have.
Like, quite honestly, I don't want like someone's kid looking up to them to that extent. Like, there's there's a point where you look up to them a little too much.
My kid, I want him to live his own life. I want to give him, advice, and I want to give him, memories that I had because they're fun. And I feel like, oh, maybe he could interpret this in his own way and help him through his life. But I want him to learn his own way as well.
Exactly.
Which, it all boils down to how your parents taught you and what you wanted to see out of them. Like that one's really interesting because whenever everyone has a different interpretation on what they want to do when they become a parent, if they ever want to become a parent, and it will become truly apparent when it happens what you want to do. So I had to put a pun in there somewhere. I had to. But for me, I know the way I grew up, I'm very happy I did. I'm very fortunate with where I am, stability wise when it comes to money or like being able to do what I want to do.
Definitely.
They allowed me to do a lot of the things that I wanted to do. But there's also a few things that I wish they didn't let me do, or I wish they would have had let me do.
Yeah.
And it will boil down to just, what happens in the future when I become a parent. And I know for me, I want to give them the experiences of playing with their toys with them and, going outside, teaching them to ride a bike or, just small things. And then let them scour the internet, with some moderation, of course, don't let them go find Live Leak if that ever comes back, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't let them find things like that. But definitely give them some form of internet access that allows them to find out new things that they didn't know before or just have fun on the internet. The internet.
I was like a little upset. I was like, we're talking a lot about the brain rather than memories, and then I realized I was like, well, that is what memories are. It's tied to a lot of the parts of the brain, and learning is memories and la da da.
Exactly.
Oof. Brain.
Monkey.
Monkey.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Now, what do you think is the difference between memory and instinct?
Ooh.
In disregards of like survival instinct, that's different. Instinct that you might have developed, right? Do you think there's a difference between memory and developed instinct?
No. I feel like they're one and the same.
You feel like it's just one is conscious and one is not?
Yeah. Because, like, the only reason you would have an instinct like that is because of a memory popped up in your brain that made you have to either get that instinct or something that just, made you think about that instinct.
Well, you don't even have to think of the memory. Like, sometimes I just automatically go monkey without even realizing I said it.
Exactly. Instinctually, but that's because you had that memory prior to it. Yeah.
But, like, where in the brain does it, like, how? Someone needs to do a study about instinct. Developed instinct. Like when someone, like if you've had a traumatic experience, someone trying to like pat you on the back and you swat them away, like that kind of like, developed instinct.
Yeah, that's a memory. That's memorized instinct. It's developmental in. Oh, I was like really confused. I guess my sister's going to sleep. Whatever. But either way, that's memorized instinctive instinct.
Memorized instinctive instinct?
Exactly.
You could have said like memorized instinctive actions.
And so that's your instinct. I've said the word so many times it doesn't make sense.
MIA? Maya? I named my daughter Maya. Stands for memorized instinctive actions. Some show is gonna do that. Somewhere. Not like exactly like that, but something stupid like that.
there's so many things I'm excited for the future and memorization wise.
It's just interesting, I guess. I'm gonna talk about my AirPods for a second for some godforsaken reason. I don't like. I wasn't even looking at them. Like, I looked at that box and it was white and it triggered a memory of what my AirPods looked like. I was gonna talk about how they keep on falling out of my ears.
Yeah, you just got small ears, I guess.
No, it's just pros are a little funky.
Oh, I just have the second or the first gen normal AirPods. I don't know.
Remember.
I don't care
Yeah,
about
exactly.
what AirPods I just don't. I just know I have AirPods.
Did I tell you I was in class and so we were about to take a test and we're gonna take a math inventory test. Have you ever taken those?
Oh, you told me about this.
Yeah, with the
continue.
teacher. So I guess my we're about to take a test and then the teacher was like, all right, put all phones away, put all earbuds. I was like, okay, I wanted to listen to music while doing the test to ease my mind so I could focus a little better, but it's understandable. A lot of teachers tell you to take your headphones out before tests. It's standard practice, right? So after the test, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just put it back in, and while I lectures, I'll just listen to music, write notes, stuff like that. Halfway through the lecture, he just walks up to me and he goes, "Notice how I said to take your earbuds out at the beginning of the class?" And my instinct was just to say noted, like, or just yes sir, right? Like, there's nothing I could fight against that, right? I told it to one of my friends, and they said, "Well, you should have replied with, notice how I didn't give a shit."
You should have. You should have.
Yeah, I'm just not that type of kid, I guess.
See, man, that's just why you need long hair. Like, that's what I got. I got long hair.
I just can't do that. Like, I've had short hair my whole life. I'm not gonna get long hair to cover my damn AirPods. Like,
well, that's not the reason I got long hair, but it's an added bonus.
You just get long hair, bro.
Exactly.
Wow.
Ugh.
Mind, brain, life is amazing to just look at. Why don't we just do a podcast about general life? Like,
it'll happen.
It'll happen. We'll get there. Just gotta remember.
Yeah, we just gotta keep it on our memories to do it.
Where does it come to a point where it's a pun or it's just us being stupid? Like,
I mean, do we want to do that for our next podcast, General Life?
No. Oh well, no. Next podcast we're doing. We'll figure it out afterwards. But I was
about to say, do we want to tell them?
They probably.
No. Hold on.
We'll get there.
This is what we're gonna say. We have a special plan.
Next podcast is a special. It's just a special. And then we're gonna plan to just do a normal and then another special. So that's our plan for the next week. So you don't know what that means, but we'll get there.
Keep that in mind. But yes, if you have any suggestions for our next podcast, go ahead and leave them because we don't actually have an idea for the next one yet.
Oh yeah, or just.
We have one for the other special one.
Yeah. Or even the podcast after that, the filler in between.
Yeah.
About life. Oh, my brain hurts. It's just, it's so. No. So we're gonna do an intermission pretty soon because we're already an hour in. But what we do for Twitch and YouTube purposes is we split our podcasts into 2 segments, and we put an intermission card like an hour in, so that we can split those into segments for episodes for YouTube. But it's still like a 3-hour long clip for Twitch, so we're only like so far in.
Each podcast usually on YouTube is about, I'd say, an hour. It's usually an hour 20, hour 30.
Yeah, something like that. And then, but just Twitch is like generally around 3 hours. But speaking of that, do you want to pull up intermission soon?
We can do it soon, not yet.
Okay.
Just so that way we have some closing arguments.
Anything on your mind?
Yeah. Memories.
Really now? Tell me more about that.
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that.
But I don't know, like the whole conception of memories in and of itself is just so wacky wonky. You know what I mean?
I mean, I feel
Like-
like we've got that general consensus now.
Well, of course. But I just like, I don't know. I think the one thing that I take away from memories is not only nostalgia, but is just
They're complicated.
not only are they complicated, but it's just like try to make them without trying too hard.
Yeah.
Really. I don't know. Like,
As
there's
that,
just
as that one quote I told to Yuvi. Just let it happen.
No, do you want to mention the context before
No.
it sounds really out of context?
I don't think I do, actually.
Oh, you're gonna leave that one up to speculation.
Yeah, I will.
Oh, okay. I don't know if that's the best for our audience, but
What-
okay.
I mean, what are they gonna do? Like, go back a couple like podcasts earlier and cancel us on Twitter? Like,
Oh no.
not our non-existent Twitters.
I mean,
think
I have a
either-
Twitter,
You do?
but I don't use it.
I made a Twitter account just to like follow someone, and then I just like deleted the Twitter. account. That's about
That's
it.
what I did. And then I just never used Twitter ever again.
Exactly.
I had no need.
Like a good quote for all of our podcasts, or just from what I'm viewing it, is the the human brain is so damn complicated. It kind of pisses me off, actually.
Honestly,
It
consider yourself canceled.
I think about myself all the time. I think about like how I got here, the human brain all the time. It leads to a lot of existentialism, but I think I've gotten over it at the age of 14, you know. But I just think about the human brain so much because I'm just very interested in psychology and myself. And
Ooh, here's a question.
okay,
Do you think you're gonna go through a midlife crisis?
me personally,
Because, like, I mean, like, no one can say whether or not they are going to, but it's usually because you don't really know the direction that your life is going in, right?
Yeah. Well, who knows? Like, I could go through an experience that just leads me to alcoholism, and I'm just like, what am I doing with my life? I thought I had it all under control. Who the hell knows?
Exactly.
Anything could happen, honestly. Like, I am the like most egotistical person besides Storm that I know. And I might hold that in pride, but that's really a joke. Like, that is not something you should be prideful of. But I'm just
Yeah.
prideful for myself. Like, I joke about it. I'm not like genuinely egotistical to the point where it's like a poison to other people, right? I have a filter. I don't put myself on a pedestal compared to others or anything like that.
I'm
Just to myself.
egotistical just so that way I have a reason to keep going. Like, that's really sad. Like, it's so disappointing and like depressing.
Oh no, that's so
But-
true though.
It is so true. Like, I use my ego as a way to keep me going. If I say that I'm good at something
Yeah.
or that I know what I'm doing, then, you know, I'll believe it and I'll continue to try and be the best at it.
Just to
So-
motivate ourselves, really, and not like a lot of like egotistical people that have like a poison is people who are masking like themselves. Like, that's a masked ego, I think.
You know, I don't even think we're egotistical. I think we just have the proper ego.
I feel like we just have a healthy mind.
I think that's what it is. I think everyone else is just like so used to just other people not, you know, talking good about themselves.
That is so
I
true.
guess.
Yeah.
Oh my
No,
god, that might just be what it is.
Totally, yeah, cause my dad's like the same way. Like, he like jokes about how like cool he is, but like he doesn't actually put himself on a pedestal above other people. That's just not the man. he
It's
is.
just a good mindset.
It's just called a good mindset. Yeah.
Bruh, that just gave me a whole new introspection on life.
That is hilarious. Are you going through a midlife crisis?
Oh my god, where's my life going? Oh.
I can't. The thing is, I can't particularly think of like any closing statements necessarily, because honestly, like, memory is so complex that I feel like you can cover only so much because there's a lot of research going into it, and I don't think a 14 and a 15-year-old can cover it all in an hour and 30 minutes. So,
I mean, we could if we just take a lot of
quite
practice beforehand.
honestly, I feel like that is a good closing statement.
No, I have a good closing statement.
Go ahead, shoot.
Make memories.
Up on.
That's- yes, please. It's the best memory you can make. Fun.
Yeah.
Just live life. Don't wish it away. Don't don't try to go into the future now. Let it come naturally. You'll get there eventually. There might be things you are waiting for, like, I don't know, you're waiting for a package to arrive, and anything before that is really boring. But that does not mean that if your days feel like they're going by and it doesn't feel like you're doing anything, that does not mean that you're not doing something.
Yeah.
Like, if you're sitting there and you are reflecting on yourself so that way you can have a better mindset for later or something, that's not saying that you're wasting your time. What I mean by wasting your time is purposely, like, you know, not doing anything, or just being like, okay, I'm done with today, and so you just do nothing.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is just like not, you know, playing games, or you're not doing anything entertaining. You're just sitting there waiting for the clock to hit 9 o'clock so you can go to sleep.
Yeah. Seems about right.
So go outside and make memories. I don't know, go trip on a log. That'll give you something to think about for a couple of days.
That's so hilarious. I used to trip on the same damn hose in second grade.
I don't know.
That sums up my life about pretty well.
Go, I don't know. Go find a dollar bill outside.
Do something.
Yeah, just do something. I know for me it's like 9 o'clock, but do something tomorrow. I don't know. Go have fun. Make memories. You won't be able to forever. You'll be dead. What are you gonna do then, huh? Cry? But I thought. Make memories.
Yeah. You want me to do the honors?
Sure, go right ahead.
All right. Thank you for listening in. Twitch and YouTube viewers alike. And if you're on YouTube, go check out our Twitch. We're live every Friday. And for the Twitch viewers, we're gonna separate these segments into episodes and upload them throughout the week. So go check out our YouTube if you're not here for the full clip. And with that, that was me and Storm. I guess catch you on the next one.
Yeah.
And hope you enjoyed this episode's Midnight Milk Ride.
See ya.